How's it going, guys? It's that time of the month again, where we delve into the deep and twisted mind of a Wargame Red Dragon player. Today we're on this map again. I believe it's called Gunboat Diplomacy. And we've got MrShrimpler, Haze, and VicAlarik playing against name I can't pronounce, Drunken MI Tanker, and Gato. So, at this point, you're probably like, where's the deck review? The deck is exactly the same as it was last time, as is the map, as is the sides, as is the deployment. But it is, I promise you, a different game. When I first looked at it, I was like, has he just sent me the same thing twice? No, no, it's it is a different game. So if you want to see Swedish Armoured, I would check the link in the description to where we cover Swedish Armoured. It's not a particularly meta deck. But yeah, Wargame Red Dragon just gives people that feeling of familiarity, I suppose. They make the same lobby with the same settings, play the same deck, do the same things, and yeah, you get that feeling of familiarity, like watching an old movie, right? Watching your favorite movie. Um, yeah, yeah. Well, what is there to say? So yeah, we've got VicAlarik with Swedish Armoured. And then we've got MrShrimpler with a Dutch-German coalition. So we'll explain coalitions more as the game goes on, but basically it is the Dutch and the Germans together. Interestingly enough, MrShrimpler's deck is called FU Vic, so they must know each other. Not sure if Hayes is part of the gang or just a third person they picked up. On the opposite team, we've got a name I can't pronounce. And he is not here. He is here, and he is playing as Chinese. I think it's just regular Chinese. It might be Chinese motorized. No, because here are the tanks. I think it's just regular Chinese. And then we've got Gato, who I think is playing as the Soviet Union. Yep. And then we've got Drunken MI Tanker playing as what I think is China again. I think this is more China here. So yeah, it looks like we got Drunken MI Tanker on. I mean, we'll be casting it from this side, so on the right, and he's presumably going over here into Gulf, but you can't view where they're going. Then you've got Chinese name, and I think presumably it's Mandarin. I mean, why else would he be playing as China, right? And he's going presumably to Charlie. We'll see if he makes it across the river or what have you. And then you've got Gato playing as the Soviet Union, and he's got a big heli blob trying to take Alpha, I suppose. And not much outside of that. These guys don't know what they're getting themselves into. I mean, I've seen three replays now of VicAlarik and his friend playing on this map with these settings, 1 hour game time. And I think they've been on blue 4 every time. No, that's not right, actually. I think the first time they were on red 4. And yeah, they kind of do the exact same thing every time, which is they start with a bunch of FOBs, and then they just spend all game artying everybody because that's the map. There's a big river here, makes pushing very difficult. And these guys on the opposite team, they don't know what they're in for. They only brought 2 FOBs. Their opponents brought, what is that? 5. So on the left here, we've got Haze playing as, it might just be South Korea, but it might be Japan, South Korea. Yeah, it's Japan, South Korea. It's called Blue Dragons. Japan and South Korea teaming up. Very realistic scenario. Yeah, so he's got a bunch of wheeled stuff, right? A bit of AA. That's what this Tam short arrow is. It fires stingers, basically. It just looks weird on the icon, but it is just a stinger. It's just got super nice stats. And yes, a bunch of wheeled stuff, right? Motorized stuff, and presumably he's going to secure this bridge. Will be interesting to see what goes on here with the ships and so on. Alpha, usually nothing happens on Alpha. And then we've got VicAlarik with his Swedish Armoured, and his friend MrShrimpler with his deck FU VicAlarik. And they're going to do the same thing they always do, which is that Vic's going to fight around here. I've not seen the replay, you could just tell from the pings. And MrShrimpler is going to fight around here. So yeah, let's delve into the heart of darkness. Sadly, the you know, this HUD thing, I can't actually close this. It just closes the whole thing. So it is a little spoilerific, right? Yeah, so I'd like to take the time to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get their videos early, they get members exclusive videos. One join at the lowest level's worth 2,000 views. At the highest tier, you get your games cast at a rate of 1 per calendar month. So that's typically Wano, but you know, SD2, Wargame Red Dragon, why not? Even stuff like Age of Empires, if I own it, I'm willing to cast it. But obviously, my technical acumen is not sufficient in these games compared to Wano, where I am the world #1 Wano player, and right now I actually am, or at least on the ladder rank. So yeah, it looks like Gato's helicopter rush here. I think we've seen Gato in one of these games before, right? I don't know if they're all friends. I kind of get the impression they're not, but Gato is wow, he's actually mixing stuff up. I guess he's done this enough times, and he knows exactly what his opponents are going to do. The thing is, right, that you know, 3 guys just buy AA, and then the AA kills everybody, or at least 2 guys buy AA. Looks like Vic's not gone for that, but MrShrimpler and Haze have, and they're trying to find the FOBs, I guess. So they, like, have you noticed these fire their ATGMs way better? They got a CVE there. They got a CV there, but have you noticed they fire their ATGMs way better than they do in Wano? They actually launch them without having to go, whoa! So helicopters in this game are a bit more lethal and cheaper. Although I suppose you'd have to times it by 2 to get the Wargame Red Dragon price equivalent, so... In the meantime, I mean, so this... He's got the FOB, which means they can't... Sorry, if the CV's moving, you can't actually spawn things here, which is how it used to be at the start of Wano, and they changed it pretty quickly because it's really dumb, right? Because it means that... Because, like, there's some maps that only have 1 spawn, and so you just hit the CV and then what? You can't spawn anything. So, game ends. It is pretty funny, like... So, yeah, cool idea from Red, but they've fallen into the trap, which is that they've not secured Foxtrot, Golf, and Foxtrot and Golf with CVs, which you really have to do against these guys, because their game plan is just to sit there with FOBs and buy artillery. Having said that, there is some aggression here, right? I've got to give them some credit, right? They're attacking. So, yeah, we've got, you know, Storm Pioneers. At least there's no South Africa in this game. Last time there was a South Africa, and the gunfire that the South African units makes is just really, 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 really loud. So, Red Dragon was, like, the first game in the series to implement Amphibious, which is why all the maps have a massive river running through them, so that you're forced to use the Amphibious. Only problem with the Amphibious is it's crap. Because if you look, the road speed's 110 and the Amphibious is 35, so you just get stuck in the middle of the ocean and you get shot, basically, by the people on the shoreline. HQ7 is AA, but yeah, look at that. Triple recoilless rifle team here. In this game, they go 1,400 meters, and that's further than it is in Wano. Not only because in Wano it's 1050, but in Wano, they've got this massive range scaling thing where they just tell you that a house is 200 meters long, whereas this game doesn't really have that to the same extent. It does it a little bit, but not as much. And so these go, you know, further than you would expect. These recoilless rifles, and it's the same one from Wano, the M67 recoilless rifle. So, Red still haven't capped Foxtrot, and this is really, really dumb of them, actually. It's very unintelligent, because look at all the FOBs, right? The way the game is structured, you've got 1 hour match time, which I don't think is the default. I think the default is 40 minutes, like in Wano. And so on, but Red is actually on the +2, because they've taken Alpha, because there's nobody in Alpha. So Gato's helicopter rush working out there, although he's not, you know, it's not been secured. It's not been fortified, you could say. And, yeah, so Haze was moving this, which meant that this wasn't actually capped. He stopped doing that now, so it's only +1. The +2 here died, if you recall, because it was going, and the helicopter shot it, killed it in the transport there. So, yeah, you'd hope that Gato could look at that CV placement there. He's hiding it in the building block. And there you go, Foxtrot secured, giving these guys the +3, which means that Blue's actually going to have to play the game if they want to win. So, But yeah, it is going well for blue on India, certainly, right? I think the CVs are on their way. No, if this is infantry, okay. Is there a CV on its way for Delta? There is. And then we've just got a bunch of standard grads in this game are really bad, but they are cheap. I suppose it is roughly the same price as it is in Warner, but you get like 4 in a card or something. And so that they, in general, RT of this game is stronger, but the grad, you know, it's mainly about. It's not actually that bad, to be honest. It's mainly about suppression. So the Wargame Red Dragon artillery implementation is actually way better than the Wano artillery implementation. The splash is significant, and so you don't have to. It's not like you're just trying to snipe people constantly. So use a 203mm sniper rifle. That guy was getting shot by something. Okay. So, yeah, red, they tried to play some aggression. They tried to break up the map a bit. They are bringing in the CVs now. They are on a +3, so red's doing pretty well for themselves, actually. But it's going to be a long game. 53 minutes left on that clock. And, yeah, so there you go. So you can also smoke with the VicAlarik in this game. So that's the VicAlarik. There's no towed units. Everything's self-propelled. So like even Ihawks are self-propelled, which I think they were in real life at one point, but I don't think they were in real life in the Wano time frame. Of course, the PACT gets the KA 25 or whatever what's it called? The KA-52, something like that. The helicopter. Anyway, I was at KA-50. What's the first one called? The one on, the helicopter. The one that was adopted in 2005. But yeah, Britain can't have Spag because they made the chieftain marksman and they gave them all to Finland, which in the Wano law is a red formation. So Britain just supplied the enemy. That's why they don't have any. Anyway, So yeah, this map lends itself to this kind of grindy gameplay, but I will say that blue are winning right now because they can get a CV into golf because they own all of India and they own half of golf. So even though red is on a +1 currently, I'm not really sure why. Oh, because of alpha. Okay, so something has to be done about this. But ow, my eyes. Anyway, if blue puts a CV in here, which you'd expect at some point, yep, there it is. Then it will be a +0, and if they sort this out, then it'll be a +1. But yeah, credit to potentially MandarinName here. It might actually not be Mandarin. He's actually trying to do stuff. Whereas usually nothing happens here at all, so that's cool. Yeah, so big smoke out. So this drunken M1 tank, I'm very impressed with Redfall this time. In the last game we played, nobody smoked at all, and the last time we saw this, I'll link it in the description. That's where the deck review is, which I know you're just dying to see. Swedish Armoured. There was no smoke at all. And I don't want to spoil too much for you. There's no LOS tool, right? I do like pressing that LOS tool. I'm pressing C, nothing's happening. That is AA Helo, AA plane. Took out the Helo. I don't know if it was worth it really. I don't know the trades in this. So we've got some Chinese militia for 5 points. They have 15 guys, but in this game, right, it's like the new militia trait actually in Wano. Yeah. So in this game, there's multiple. Oh no! Right, okay, so they're moving forwards, but they're not the right guys, so they're gonna get burnt to death. They need to get in the same. They need to get in the building block. There we go. And they need to. Well, I don't know because they're still getting set on fire. See the black smoke mixing with the grey smoke there. Very cool. It's like one of those Dalmatians or something. And yeah, you can hear that flame sound over and over and over again. That's really cool. Big fan of that. Zoom out a little bit. So, this is some sort of artillery piece. 130mm. Interesting. Don't think Wano has a Tok Chon, because it doesn't have China, right? And you see that MandarinName, he got in here, but he died, but he managed to kill everybody who was there. And you see MrShrimpler helping out Haze here. And there's just nobody in here. Like, I really feel like instead of running across here, Chinese name should have... Ah, he's doing it now, actually. He should have really just put a bunch of guys at Alpha and secured Alpha, because, yeah, getting into this +2 is very, very difficult. So, MrShrimpler has forgotten about his CV here. So, the enemy will continue to be on a +1 until he remembers. This thing's pretty cool. And, yeah, one thing you can do in this, when there's a C thing, is it unlocks an extra tab in your deck, which doesn't cost any activation points, and it allows you to basically just... You can bring boats if you want, but you can also just bring, like, everything in the boat tab. You can just bring infantry and stuff like that, but they come in boat transports, or helicopters. And so, yeah, that can be cool. So, yeah, I do like Red's tenacity, but so far, Blue has the better position, in my opinion. But Red is on the +1, because MrShrimpler just still hasn't unloaded this. Would be cool to see some Red kind of action over here. Like, there's nobody there. I could try crossing. And the militia, more militia here. So, you know, it is a strat where you just get the militia in, and then you use artillery. But in this game, infantry dies really fast. It's a lot cheaper and more available. You can basically see one Wargame Red Dragon squad, one Wano squad as 3 Wargame Red Dragon squads. It's about 3 times the price. And frankly, it's about 3 times as tanky. So, this is probably a good way of thinking about it. So, I to be honest, like, it's cooler to have more units, but you can always just play div mob or whatever if you want more units. And I think it's cool to have, you know, if you're just going to bring... Because, look, everybody always blobs up the infantry because you need to. So, did you notice these transports were destroyed, but the guys inside survived? So that's something that happens in this game. Vic here has shot, apparently, 50 rounds at these people, and they're still there. So he's had to buy some supply now and some more tanks. And, yeah, here we go. So, K9 Thunders. So, this is like a super good M20... M109. It's like an upgraded M109, basically. And then the Beacon, presumably. So, yeah, K9 Thunders are from the Korean-Japanese guy. And then, yeah, the Beacon's from Vic, which... So, this is the same thing he did last time. Almost 1-to-1, actually. He rushed this at the start. And then he bought 3 beacons. He started beaconning, so... It is always interesting to see, you know, what happens with these kind of older titles, because Wargame Red Dragon's a super old game. I'm going to try and find out how long ago it is. And people still play it. It was given away for free at one point. Yeah, 2014, so, you know, 11 years ago. April 2014, it's more than 11 years old. And people still play it. And they just kind of do the same thing over and over and over again. I think this has been a really good example of that, actually. Yeah, it's like people who just watch the same movie, you know? I remember that movie and what have you. Anyway, the ticker stopped. Does he know where the CV is? No, he's just going for the Corpse Marineers. But yeah, the air in this game dies a lot. So, I guess it's a lot like Wano, actually, in the team games. Look at that. Every plane is a one trip. One-way trip. So, Drunken Tanker with his smoke plays actually almost managed to take this. But what he should have done is like, yeah, smoking here is great, but why didn't he just smoke the guys who were like, if he smoked here, then he could use his fire support to shoot these guys, right? Like, you know, this sort of thing. So, do you notice they're targeting the supply there? So they know what's going to happen. Well, I mean, they've played this before. They play this constantly, apparently. And so, yeah, look, he's targeting the supply. Because he figures, well, it's 45 minutes left in the game. We've got 5 FOBs. They don't. Still no Tomcat in Wano. Tomcats are pretty cool. They're basically the NATO equivalent of the MiG-31. So they've got the same range as the MiG-31 missile. In this game, they have, you know, the range on the MiG-31, etc. is a lot more. Sorry, the range on the MiG-31 in Red Dragon is more than the range in Walnut. There's been a little bit of range compression there, which I think is fair enough, to be honest. It would be cool to get the Marines in Warno. I don't know what they're doing, really. After Southag, I guess it would be Nemesis 4. And then what? I mean, if they have anything about them, they would do Scandinavia, which is probably where the Marines would come in. Because I think, you know, if it was World War III, that's where they would be deployed. But then that means, you know, one fewer div for Scandinavia. And then they should... I think they'll do, like, Yugoslavia versus Italy after that. Because there's somebody involved in the project who really likes Yugoslavia. So it would just... You know, he's probably just constantly trying to get Yugoslavia made, basically. Anyway, more one-way trips there from the planes. And, yeah, you see, like... So, like, this plane is just NATO. That's from the air tab. So you can just get, like, some really nice fighters from the air tab. Pions, interesting. But not enough FOBs. Look, these FOBs are running out. And unlike the Warno FOBs, this is actually displayed correctly instead of just displaying completely wrong. And, you know, like, Haze, VicAlarik, and MrShrimpler are not going to run out of FOBs. They've got plenty of FOBs. Got FOBs for days. So the Firebau is one of the best seeds in the game. In this game, so, like, the Challenger Marksman actually does have, you know, loads of armor on it, and so the AP of the seed missile does actually matter. And the Firebau, I think, is the only one that can one-shot the Challenger Marksman. So you see, he brought it in and just evac'd it there, because this is actually switched off. And these Gepard A2s, they actually have stingers on them as well. So it's a very beastie AA piece. And yeah, just double the price, basically, to get the Warno equivalent, because in this game you get about 130 points a minute. And in Warno you get 260. So that would cost you 130 Warno bucks, whereas the Gepard in Warno is like, what, 85? Or might be 80. So Mr. Tanker, he's got to sort this out, right? So okay, so he's just going to shoot them back. So this has it has more range, actually, this one. This is like a tank destroyer, basically. So it's kind of cheap. So this would be an 80-point tank in Warno. So yeah, it's got the range advantage. And you see they are killing stuff. I mean, the Warno, the Red Dragon kind of UI, I think, is probably better than the Warno UI, actually. Like, these are just so much nicer to look at. I don't know if that's like a setting I've enabled, but it's so much nicer to look at. And yeah, maybe put the little thing next to here so you know what it is. But yeah, the red versus blue, I think it does look better. The kind of green, I don't know. The UI in Warner is really weird. Like 2 years into the game, they changed it so high cohesion wasn't blue anymore, it was yellow. Look at that, beautiful. And yeah, the dispersion is very, very big, but you'll notice that they are getting stunned up. Because like RT has quite a wide stun splash, which I think is how it should work in Warno as well, rather than just being a laser beam. But blue's on a +1 because they've secured this, right? And, you know, this is equalized and this is fully taken, so... You know, it's on red to do something here. They could push this, right? Looks like they're doing that right now. And in the meantime, you know, blue just buying more and more and more artillery. Tomcats every time an enemy plane comes out. That is, oh, okay, so he's actually playing he's playing Red Dragons. He's not just playing China. The Chinese guy's playing Red Dragons. I think it's Chinese anyway. He's playing Red Dragons, which is China and North Korea, because that was a B5 bomber. It drops a very big bomb, as you can see from the crater. It looks like it didn't really hit anything. I think, honestly, Red should just try coming over here. There's not that much there. Obviously, they can't see what we see. Well, there's actually quite a lot here. So that's an AA piece. It's RBS 70 is kind of like a Javelin LML, except really good. Or it might be the RBS 80, that's really good. That one doesn't seem to have much accuracy. Anyway. Yeah, Red just getting ground down here. So they've bought a bunch of boats. They're going to try and do something with the boats, I suppose. So the way naval works in this game is kind of interesting. Basically, you get the big boat. So this isn't the biggest boat you can get, but this is a CV boat. The biggest one is literally 420 points. And, okay, well that, wasn't a great usage. Oh, one of them got out, actually. This almost died, too. So, basically, you get a big boat, and then you put a bunch of smaller boats around it, like in real life, actually. And the smaller boats have Sea Whiz, which is that gun on the right there, which intercepts incoming missiles. And yeah, you just use the big boat. This isn't the biggest boat. It's called like Sovereignty or something. But yeah, there you go. Look, they can just buy, because this is in the plane tab. Sorry, this is in the boat tab. They're just buying planes from the boat tab. I suppose to kill the boats from the boat tab. So yeah, you buy these escorts. I mean, and the escorts will intercept the incoming missiles, while the big boat will fire its big boat gun at people, and its long-range missiles at people. And you just got to keep it safe from enemy incoming missiles, and you just sit there. So this is a good way to kill stuff. It's called the Sea Buster, and it just fires it. Look at that. Look, it's intercepting. That one got hit. That one got hit twice. So he was focusing the escort there, which is interesting. And so yeah, this just fires 6 harpoons each, apparently. For a total of 12 harpoon anti-ship missiles. So that's how you kill the ships from the shoreline. But yeah, it's neutral. Like, Red needs to deal with this. And all those helos died. I think the explosions killed them. Yeah, the being too close to everything else must have killed him. And he's moved this now, right? So he's probably going all the way back to his 5 FOBs. Yeah, so I feel like Red could have really turned the screws on this before Blue put anybody in there. But yeah, you can get small torpedo boats as well. But yeah, look at that. So if you've got the escorts and stuff, the only issue is that these are on the reverse slope, so they can't actually be seen. And yeah, ATGMs can't really be intercepted. Well, they just can't. I mean, as you saw, the Sea Whiz didn't go on that. It's just for missiles. And yeah, the Hellfire, oh, it's not intercepting it, right? So... So this thing's probably going to die. You see, they're taking a lot of... They've just not got enough escorts. They've just not got enough escorts. They do have some planes, but I mean, like, they need more of these Swaijan things. So these might just die. Because they're getting hit by these Hellfire guys. And they're not even right-clicking him. Okay, well, right-clicked him now, I guess. And this is... So we're gonna go... Oh, I don't understand this at all. Like, just kill it. It's run out of Hellfires now, but... So yeah, yeah, there you go. So this is the counter from Blue. So this is one of the bigger ships, right? So it's not the biggest. The biggest one is called Sovereignty or something. But this is like some French thing, right? And yeah, but they don't have escorts. But you know, there's not enough here really. This is about to die. This is full HP. And so that they fire all their missiles, and they fire all their missiles. That's so Seed also shoots at the boats because the boats have radars on them. So this is like a radar. The middle one's a radar, right, and the one on the right's radar as well. So yeah, it was not a great attack from Red. So now they're buying some other nonsense over here. Yeah, Red just can't really push in. Oh, he's actually starting to smoke off the enemy tanks and stuff now. But yeah, these militia, they do... It's not like KDA, where they just... Or Div Mob, where the militia actually just beat the regular infantry anyway. In this game, militia actually are bad. And special forces actually are really good. Like, they move way faster and stuff like that. So, yeah, the Storm Pioneer... Yada. Still going strong there. Looks like Red did manage to snipe Blue's CV here, though, because, yeah, look, it's all exploded. And so Blue's bought some more CVs, but just like last time, he's just kind of forgotten about it, so it's just going to sit there. And yeah, Red's push here was kind of shit, to be honest. These are also really bad. It's not helpful for anything. You know, it's not much of an interceptor. Just like not a good composition, basically. People get it because it's cheap, but it doesn't accomplish anything. So, more grads coming out here, but look, the FOBs are already running out. And the game's only half left, whereas these guys, they still have 4 of the 5 FOBs. And the K9s are just going to... Every time Red moves up here, he gets shot, so... It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. These tanks also are built to be defensive. Because they've got a lot of... They're self-propelled guns, right? They're not proper tanks like tank destroyers, so they've got a lot of armor and stuff, but they don't have turrets. So they're good on the defense for their price. There you go, he's down to 1 now. But the other guys are very panicked, and there's a bit of help coming in there from... This is a CV90. The IFV Britain refuses to buy, even though it's made by a British company. And so this is that's why you need the escorts, right? You notice that just got hit by a bunch of missiles. I actually kind of think the the boat combat in this game is relatively interesting. I don't see why people hate it so much. Anyway, cool attack there. It looks like they're all going to get out. So that was a TV missile. I'm not sure what it went on. But yeah, I think what Red should have done is got up to here and then, you know, used the helicopters on it. And well, I suppose, yeah, the issue is this, right? But you get up to here and then he's on the reverse slope, so you can't get him. So you need to get some infantry on here somewhere. So these are all just going to die. I haven't seen ahead, but you just know, don't you? And this is why you need the escorts, because otherwise they'll... Well, loads of them hit you. Although, to be honest, not that many hit that one. So yeah, he's just moving all these down. I mean, they're quite tanky. I guess they're decent against infantry, but like, what's the plan? And this is the idea behind the naval, right? This is why they added it. So, Peace Pheasant's got 4 Mavericks on it. It fires them all really fast. But it goes down to the Shilka. But yeah, there's so many maps like this where there's just a river dividing both sides and it opens up to the sea, and the idea is that you could send the smaller boats through the river. So yeah, interesting boat plays here. But he didn't like blob them up either, he just... because they all spawned and then, you know, they're all doing this, so... It's just a shame, really. I feel like if they put their mind to it, they probably could have killed this. But then again, Gato did lose loads of helos at the start, so MrShrimpler's remembered his CV. And that's going to be +1 again for Blue as soon as it stops moving. And it's not like in War No, where it just tells you exactly where it is because of a dumb line. So yeah, the ships continue their merry little jaunt down the river. As you can see, they're all on fire and just dying because the tanks are all shooting them as they go past. So a bit of a massive waste of resources there. And Red still don't have a CV in this zone because they need to capture a lot of ground in order to do it. And they can't do that because the RT is going to kill him. There's just loads of these Swedish tanks in here, right? So he moves forwards and he dies because there's just so much in here. They're in the forest, right? They've got the defensive position. Look at the rate of fire, 15 rounds a minute. That's a round every 4 seconds. Whereas this is 9, so... You know, you're not going to win. So Red needs some RT, but Blue has more RT, right? Because they bought all the FOBs. So so he still had helicopters, and instead of using them to come take this out, he just sent him on a suicide mission over mid. You hate to see it, honestly. Anyway, planes being used to try and clear out these tanks, but the planes will die, so I don't really think... You know, RT's a better shout, basically, because it's safer. He does get it, though, but I don't think it's worth it. So, more grads. Looks like he's trying to get... He thinks the CV's in here somewhere. I mean, it is, but it's right at the back. And, yeah, red needs to just put a CV in here, but it'll immediately get artied. So I guess they've just got to move it forwards, move it backwards, move it forwards, move it backwards. But, yeah, it's not great. So Seed out there seems to have missed basically all its bullets and died. So that's cool. And, you know, one wonders what the plan is here. Like, you're just gonna... So, you would assume that he's bombing this so that he can get a bunch of guys through. But he's literally got one tank and one Strela 10M of his own units to get through there. Blue, a temporary setback in the... He's not going to run out of these, basically. Because he's Swedish Armoured, he's got fucking loads of them. This is a technique that has been honed from doing the same thing over and over and over again for, what is it, 11 years? So, these guys are not... this is Special Forces, the Legion, and these guys are Shock. So, it's kind of like Warno, but Warno uses traits instead of just having this training level, which you see at the bottom there. There's no training level in Warno, they use traits instead. And so we basically had to fight for all those traits to get added. Like, the most recent one was the militia one. This wasn't in the game until very recently. And it's just an inferior system to what they had in Red Dragon. So there are things that Red Dragon does do better. I mean, obviously, that's probably it, actually. So, another plane out here. That's a big bomb, 1,000 kilos. But they moved, so they're fine. The Legion, they're panicked, right? Fallschirmjäger 90 are elite, so they're special forces, right? So they're more than a match for... These guys are cracked. So basically, in Warno, all the guns are basically the same, right? They're standardized into brackets. But in this game, the G11 is like next level shooty. There's no G11 in Warno because it lost that that vote. Because it was a really boring idea. The only interesting thing was the G11. And the West Germans got something in South Ag anyway, so that they don't get, you know, that we shouldn't have a single... There won't be any more West German divisions ever. They've had their lot now. I'm only messing. You know, the more Germans watch my videos than British people. They overtook them recently. It's really weird. I mean, it's not really, because like Brits, that we don't... There's not a big strategy game community in Britain. It's just kids playing FIFA and COD. That's British gamers. FIFA and COD, FIFA and COD, FIFA and COD. It's like there's stuff like Dota 2 and stuff. There's never any top players who are from the UK. And if there are, then it's like they're not actually from the UK. They just immigrated, you know. But you know, I mean, obviously, like I'm brown. I just mean like. Come on. The idea is that if they were born and raised here, they wouldn't be good at Dota. You gotta come from somewhere else if you want to be good at Dota. I don't know, it's just everybody has consoles here. The console market is way bigger than the PC market. And like a lot of games are made here. Like Total War games are made in the UK, Creative Assembly. Obviously a shadow of their former selves. Rare, so Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day and all that. Hello Games, thinking of more recent examples, No Man's Sky is made in the UK. That's probably one of the more recent success stories. Basically what happens, like GTA 5, GTA is a British invention. It's two English guys doing it in Scotland. Two English guys set up a company in Scotland and they make the GTA games. But as with so many things in Britain, basically, foreign investors just come and snap all these companies up. So Rare is owned by Microsoft. GTA is owned by, it's Rockstar, which is, I think, 2K, but it's like merged into Rockstar, right? Creative Assembly is owned by Sega, which is Japanese. We also make computer chips, like ARM is one of the bigger chip manufacturers, but that's owned by SoftBank, I think, which is Japan. And they tried to sell it to Nvidia, which is America, and it got blocked because of monopoly things. And it's like, what? But it's already owned by the Japanese, so what difference does it make? But yeah, Britain's an interesting country in that regard, because Oh, he's trying to hit the Acacius back there. No, I didn't get him. But, I mean, they're running out of ammo, right? They're just... Look, none of these are firing anymore because they've run out of ammo. This Mandarin guy is nice enough to not just go use his teammate's fob, so that's nice of him. And there you go, 24 minutes without artillery support, and this is why these guys play this. I'm quite surprised they want the world to see. Are they not ashamed of what they do? They play the same map every time with the same settings, so they inflate the length of the game, and then they have 5 bombs and they just sit there and arty everybody. Big river in the middle, so nobody can go anywhere. Anyway, it's always nice to see what's going on in the Red Dragon ecosphere. Remind ourselves how lucky we are in Wano. Although I suppose the same thing kind of happens in Wano with like lobby sim. To my assumption anyway, because I just play ranked, so let's get mashed against whoever's pressing the rank button. And yeah, more self-propelled guns here, tank destroyers, whatever you want to call it. And red, they just can't make the grade. I mean, they've actually managed to get in. But I really feel that all 3 red members should have focused somewhere. I mean, I suppose they've got this problem now. But if all 3 red members had tried here, I think it might have worked. Although, you know, then somebody else might counterattack you or what have you. Basically, there's like a very narrow window at the start where, because your enemy's bought 5 FOBs, their deployment's actually very weak. And that's your window. And, you know, after the first few minutes, that window closes because the comparative gap shrinks. Let's imagine you get 100 points a minute. You have, you know, your enemy spent that 100 points on a fob. So you have 100 points, your enemy has 0, alright? So you have infinite times more than them. And then after 1 minute, you have 200, they have 100. So you have 2 times more units than them. And then after 2 minutes, you have 300, they have 200. So you have 1.5 times as many units as them. And so that's just like a natural kind of self-balancing thing, which means that if you don't press your advantage at points of the game, then the enemy can catch up. In absolute values, they don't, but in, you know, in multiples, they do. So your comparative advantage does decline. So these are those Swedish things. They can actually walk on water as well. As you can see, they don't swim. They just that makes perfect sense. Yeah, sailing on the high seas in your tank, just walking on water. It's tank Jesus apparently. Yeah. So what is to be done here? They just need a helicopter to kill them, I think. But I think they YOLO'd all their helicopters. So red, they've managed to get in here, but they need a CV, right? And they need to expand the zone that they own as much as possible because the arties come in for them, right? You got 3 B-cans and like 3 K9 Thunders. Is it not more? I'm only seeing 4 K9 Thunders and 2 M109 Dutch things, which is like the K9 Thunder, except worse. Because it's the Korean technology, right? The Poles are buying all those Korean tanks. See how that works out. It's like one of the largest tank orders ever. Well, I mean, you know, in recent times, obviously in World War II, they would just churn them out. But, yeah, it's interesting. Gotta fill the void somehow. So, yeah, these guys revealed, and now they're all dead. Marder 1A1s. Doesn't have that back machine gun in this. Or is it just a regular Marder 1 that has the back machine gun? So, yeah, red, still no CV in here, and blue's overtaken them now. With 20 minutes left, look at that, still going up. Yeah, they're about to overtake him. I assume there's a draw threshold in this game as well, I just don't know what it is. And yeah, it is what it is. You enter into a Wargame Red Dragon lobby, you know, you gotta be prepared. Okay, it's this map. This is what these guys are gonna do. They're just gonna spam a bunch of fobs. So you gotta be prepared. And there goes Gato. I believe he was in one of the previous games and he did the same thing. He just surrendered with like 20 minutes left or something. So at this point, it's a 3v2. So we're just going to speed it up a bit because, like, I mean, you know, obviously they can't win anymore. Interesting thing is, though, when you leave, your teammates get all your availability. So units which you previously had none of, you start getting more. Because otherwise it wouldn't... Because you got to think, like, if they... That was an interesting napalm. They got them all there. So they will get, like, a couple more planes, a couple more supply, a couple more of everything. Because, you know, if somebody leaves right at the start, you wouldn't be able to win. But the flip is, if you run out of units, you just leave, and then you give your teammates all your availability. I do prefer the Red Dragon system to either the Broken Arrow system, where you get more income but your availability doesn't go up, or the Wano system, where the AI takes over and the AI is retarded and just moves all its CVs out the zones. So this is a really interesting thing in this game. Flames are smoke. Flames block LOS, which makes perfect sense because you can't see through that. So you can use a TO-55 or a TO-62 to just slowly move up. But yeah, they used a plane there to kill it, I think. Or it might have been... Yeah, there was just a gap there, so all four of these hit. So they desperately... Oh, that's... they've inherited those units, I think, because Gato's gone, right? So they were his units, so they just sent them in. Because they were ATGM, so it didn't really make sense to do that, but... Leopard 2A4 NL here. It's killing everybody. We got some more bombers out because of what we said before, because that guy left. They all get more... See, look, they've just spawned some more supply now, and they've not had supply for ages. But, like, Gato's actually got some back here, it seems. Had some back here. But yeah, it's another pretty straightforward game of this. Always nice to check in on Wargame Red Dragon once a month and remind ourselves how fortunate we are. It's sort of like, you know, when you go to like the slums or whatever and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I have running water. So CV here is going to move around. Keep in mind that when it moves, you lose control of the zone, so they know it's not gone far, because otherwise this zone would have gone blue. And yeah, there's not really much red can do. So they're fighting a losing action here, conceding ground, right? I mean, I'd say, like, I don't know why they don't surrender, but honestly, I don't know why anybody would even play this game. So this is the South Korean equivalent of the Chinese militia we were seeing. So these guys aren't as good because they're only 10 men for 5 points, whereas the other guys are 15. Although they have AT, and I can't remember if the other guys had AT. Maybe they do. They're all dead though, so we can't tell. Oh no, there they are. They do have AT actually. AP10, AP10. Yeah, so the Chinese ones are just better. So because the prices in this game are halved, like you get half the income and everything's half the price, there's more price compression, which is why it was changed for Wano. I wish they'd just make it 500, right? Because there's still things in Wano where it's like, there's two things which cost the same and one of them's better. Because you don't have that granularity in the price. Because you can only go up in fives. So if you think about it from a game design perspective, you don't actually get 260 points a minute. You get 260 divided by 5, and everything's just times by 5. So you get 52 points a minute. So there's only... Obviously you can have things that cost more than 260, and there are. But, you know, let's say the most expensive things like 300 and something. Let's be generous and call it... Hang on, what? 260? Yeah, it would be 52, right? Because you divide it by 10, you times it by 2 to divide it by 5. So, let's say the most expensive thing's 350, right? That's 70 increments. You have the total of 70 increments, but particularly at the lowest level, like most things are less in the game are less than 100 points, right? So there's a lot of price compression at the lower end, and I think it would be cool if they just upped it to like what's stopping them from it being 500? Anyway, as you can see, because this is moving, it's going in blue's favor. So it's basically just the same as last time and the time before. They start with a bunch of FOBs and then they just wait. I don't know, I guess it makes sense, right? You come home from work, you don't really want to be doing something too stressful, you just do the same thing you did last time. It becomes like a routine, a way to keep in contact with your friends. How's it going? You want to do the same thing? These guys are really getting hammered by the grads. But as you can see, like so in this game, you know, it just doesn't do that much damage. So there you go. You know, I figured I'd speed it up at the end because obviously once this guy left, it was just over. And so there's no point dragging it out. And, you know, Red, they had him at the start. I don't know if these guys are like a stack or what. I get the impression they're not, but I have seen Gato in these games before. So maybe they are. And, yeah, Red had him at the start, but Blue brought 5 FOBs, so they won. So that's Wargame Red Dragon for you. You know, thank God that you weren't born into this. I'll see you around, GG.